Elon Musk has inherited Twitter's India problem. One night last February, Indian police showed up at the home address of a Twitter employee in New Delhi. There, the employee was served with a legal notice and told to accompany officers to a police station. Indian farmers were staging mass anti-government protests in the streets of New Delhi at the time, and India's governing Bharatiya Janata Party was seeking to quell dissent on social media. Authorities had already sent Twitter legal demands asking it to block accounts that had criticized the country's ruling party. The list of accounts included activists involved in the protests, opposition politicians, and journalists. Twitter had refused to block dozens of accounts, drawing the ire of the government and much of the Indian press. Outside the Twitter workers' home, a standoff ensued. With the employee holed up inside the house, Twitter's lawyers and policy staff in both India and the US made a series of frantic phone calls, according to two people with knowledge of the matter. Meanwhile, a group of police officers waited out on the street, in full view of the employee's neighbors. Ultimately, the officers left empty-handed, after Twitter offered to send a lawyer to the police station to answer questions instead. Twitter decided not to publicize the incident in order to not give Indian authorities the impression the perceived intimidation effort had succeeded, according to the people with knowledge of the incident, who spoke to Time on the condition that they to remain anonymous to protect their job prospects and personal safety. Neither the employee, nor the Indian government, nor the Delhi police responded to requests for comment for this story. Twitter, which was bought by Elon Musk in October, declined to comment and did not respond to follow-up requests. The visit from the police was understood at high levels inside Twitter to be an attempt at intimidation by Indian authorities. According to four people with knowledge of the incident, it is just one example of the intense pressure the company has come under in recent years while operating under what many have called an increasingly authoritarian regime, as it pursues much-needed growth in international markets. In a whistleblower complaint filed in July, Twitter's former head of security Peter Zatko alleged that foreign governments, including India's, had used the safety of Twitter staff based in their countries as leverage in order to force the company to comply with their demands. Despite that pressure, Twitter in other ways robustly resisted state censorship demands prior to its takeover, in an effort to preserve the platform as a relative haven for free speech in India. This July, while the company was still under its previous ownership, Twitter filed a lawsuit against the Indian government in a regional court, challenging its demands to remove 39 tweets and accounts, the details of which are under seal. But now that Twitter has been acquired by Musk, the future of that lawsuit and the platform's broader role as one of the few remaining forums for relatively free expression in India is in doubt. Musk has called himself a free speech absolutist, and has committed to bolstering freedom of expression on the platform. But he has also said he wants Twitter to follow local laws in the countries where it operates. There's this deep tension in the way that Elon Musk has talked about how he's going to run the platform, says Evelyn Duke, an assistant professor at Stanford Law whose research focuses on online speech. His proclamations about being a free speech platform would suggest standing up to authoritarians, who are the biggest threat to free speech. But he has also said he will obey local laws, which in many areas of the world means being far more restrictive than Twitter's current content moderation rules. Amid all of the upheaval surrounding Musk's acquisition of Twitter, it appears he has spent little, if any, time on India and other regions of the world where free expression on the platform is at risk. Elon has shown that his only priority with Twitter users is how to monetize them, wrote an attorney on Twitter's privacy team in internal messages reported Thursday by The Verge. I do not believe he cares about the human rights activists, the dissidents, our users in unmonetizable regions, and all the other users who have made Twitter the global town square you have all spent so long building, and we all love. One of Musk's first moves after acquiring Twitter was to fire its legal and policy chief Vijay Gadde, who had spearheaded Twitter's careful but ultimately pragmatic approach to the Indian government. Meanwhile, Yoel Roth, the executive who oversaw Twitter's efforts to tackle hate speech, misinformation, and spam on the platform, resigned on Thursday, according to media reports. Adding to the uncertainty of Twitter's future in India are Musk's other business interests, which some observers say present potential conflicts. His most valuable company, Tesla Incorporated, is currently lobbying the Indian government to reduce taxes on electric vehicle imports. One of the big concerns about Musk's ownership of Twitter is his susceptibility to business pressure due to his ownership of other businesses, Duke says, citing Tesla's plans for expansion in China, Brazil, and India. That means these markets present significant levers of pressure on Musk to cave on moderation and principles when push comes to shove. Musk gave an early indication that change is coming for Twitter's stance in India when, on Monday, he fired some 90% of Twitter's roughly 200 India-based staff, according to Bloomberg News, as part of swinging job cuts across the entire organization, roughly halving the workforce globally. It is unclear whether Twitter's legal team in India that was working on the lawsuit were included in those firings. With the next hearing in the lawsuit scheduled just days away, on November 16, Musk's decision on whether to continue taking legal action against India's government could have lasting repercussions, not only for the future of Twitter's business, but also for freedom of speech in the country, often described as the world's largest democracy. It's also an indicator of the future of American tech platforms and free expression online, in an increasing